You ever wondered what happened if like a Gerber strong arm and a more Bushcraft black had a baby? Well, if they were Catholic and they decided to keep it, it'd probably turn out like the Tera ripuukko, standard spelling. So this is like a heavy-duty Scandi style knife. You'll notice in the image there it has a micro bevel. So it is definitely made to be more of a endurance piece or survival piece than perhaps a fine carving puukko style knife. But it is still very much adherent to that pattern that you would still call it a Mora style or a puukko style knife. No worries at all. So you see there, it doesn't look dissimilar to my Bushcraft black. It's got that DLC style like finish on the flat of the blade, nice shiny satin on the bevel, then the micro bevel there. Size comparison with the Mora companion, so side by side there. And then spine thickness, you see it's quite a thick stout knife. This is the 110 variant, so that's next to a Bushcraft black, about the same length. There's a 140 variant as well that is a little bit longer. Probably the 110 is 110 millimeters on the blade, I would suggest. That's the Gerber strong arm, and that is the thicknesses again. You see they're about similar there. This is next to a similar philosophy knife, the Holtfors GK, another like hard use Scandi style knife with a micro bevel. This is kind of like a nicer version of that though. That's next to a couple of survival knives, just to show you that it's not still like, it's not at the maximum level of beefiness. That's like a A1 and a Vox rolled below and above it there. So this is still got the right grind and the right amount of maneuverability to be a real nice carving beast. Takes nice feather sticks there. This type of grind is going to excel at woodwork, at wood splitting, at wood processing, at wood carving, that sort of thing. You might want to remove the micro bevel if you want finer carving or finer curls, but I don't really have a problem, and this is on pretty nasty, hard Australian wood. The steel in this one, it's called 80 CRV2, and it's at 59 Rockwell. So I'm pretty sure it's like a 1095 kind of equivalent, pretty basic carbon steel. In the steel app, it's not showing anything too remarkable, but it's it's, what has it got here? So just reading out the specs. So it's between 0.75 and 0.85 carbon. It's got some vanadium in it to get it a little bit more toothy, I guess, or form those carbides better. It's got some chromium in it, just a small amount, molybdenum, and then a bunch of other tiny elements. So yeah, it's probably going to perform a bit like maybe the Crovan version of 1095, in terms of geometry, as you can see, it makes a bit of a mess of like fine food carving. That's just because Scandi style knives are generally rather wedge-like. The bevels, it's like a saber grind to the max, so it's like very steep, very sudden changes in geometry between the bevel and the flat part. So it does, because it's got a sharp edge, it does the cutting fine. It's just when it comes to pushing all the way through, it's going to cause you a few like bits of imprecision. Not the end of the world, but just a bit of imprecision, I guess I'd call it. So as you see, still capable of slicing finely if you put your mind to it, but if you're going to be slicing fine stuff all day, you probably want something that's a bit thinner and a bit less of a sort of survival-y, bushcrafty knife. And that's really what this could almost be. Up there with sort of the Tops Bob perhaps, or yeah, the Mora Bushcraft Black, or the Mora Garberg even. That sort of philosophy. Whatever you do, don't order it with the plastic sheath. I really thought it was going to be some sort of belt sheath, but it is literally a sleeve just for shipping. Luckily, my buddy Crick from Owl Creek Handmade, a long time ago made me a leather sheath, which was for a Mora companion, and it was always a little bit loose on the companion after it had been worn in a bit. Perfect on this knife. The rubberiness of the handle scales really makes it fit really, really nicely into that sheath. So good on you, Crick Crickerson. You have done a good job. That sheath still endures and it still survives. And it does really well with this knife. And it was just perfect because it would have sucked to not have a sheath. So I did some strength testing with this thing. I did like the ridiculous stuff. This is like knotty, inside out, backwards wood. You'd have a hard time splitting this with an axe. And this is just more to get the knife stuck, get the knife worked out, get the knife hot, check how it worked, check how it went with the edge, check if it bent or bowed or broke. This has no real life application at all. It's just part of the testing process. And it did absolutely fine. Came out of this unscathed, no issues at all. The wood actually started deteriorating from just being smashed around. So I split apart a big bit of rotten presentation stump that I'd been needing to get rid of for a while. I found Mr. Spider, who lives inside. Oh, hi there, Mr. Spider. Ah! And then just really worked away at it. Stripped off some bits, little bits, stripped off some little bits, and did all that good battening stuff that we all like to know that our knives can do, even if we don't actually intend on using them for it. So there you go. Yeah, it's a tough, strong, durable knife. It's full tang. It goes all the way through to that weird sort of hook loop thing on the end, and I just can't see any problems really with it. I can't see any frailties. It's probably a bit more on the side of a stick tang, but not hugely, I don't think. I can't see any issues with it, integrity-wise, for sure. One thing to notice is that the spine of the knife, which I'll show you here, it's got like a two-stage bevel on it. So there are flat points on the knife, but you'll need to redo your fire steel technique to be able to strike a ferro rod with it. You can, see? But you just need to kind of do it more, and you need to twist it just slightly. You'll find the sweet spot, don't worry, it'll happen just fine. Look, in terms of things that I would get rid of on this knife, it's got great ergos and a great blade. It's a really good, simple package. It reminds me so much of my Mora Bushcraft black handle. Everything about it, all the core ingredients, are awesome. I'd probably prefer just to have a standard hammer pommel rather than that ring thing. But, I don't know, would I get rid of the micro bevel? I don't know. Overall, though, it's just exceptional, and it's exceptional value as well. And I must mention, I ordered this on the 1st of December, and this is from Finland. This is from the Tera store, which is like a General Army surplus store, and it got here to Australia on the 5th of December. That is insanely fast. Like, and it was only $20 or 20 euros shipping, which is, I guess it's not hugely cheap, but damn, that was very impressive. So awesome service from them as well. Just make sure you get the one with the leather sheath, because the plastic sheath really isn't a sheath. It is just a sleeve for shipping. But otherwise, if you're lucky like me, you're going to have something lying around that can accommodate it anyway. Overall, I am definitely on Team Tarava, Jekari, Ripuukko, or however you say it. It's really an awesome knife. It's as good as a strong arm. It's as good as a Mora Bushcraft Black. It's as good as all the other channels are saying it is. So, thumbs up. Well done. I'll see you in the next video, dudes. Bye.